Just sitting there stealing from people they're already rich and they're trying to figure out ways to steal. Unreal, eh? Cheating scandal in poker's biggest games. Who would have thought? Old rich businessmen cheating to win even more money they don't deserve. Shame on them. Forget the other guy, Bill Perkins. There you go. So Billy Perkins. I don't know if Billy Perkins is sore because he lost, or if he's sore because he lost to cheaters. And that is a real deal right there. If you're gonna be upset, you can't be upset if you lost. But if you lost because someone cheated you, holy smokes. So here we are, we're having breakfast. It's gonna be, I'm doing it. I'm doing the lentil thing right now. Oh, I really want them. They're so good. Let's have lentils. Let's see what else can we have. There's also pizza in the fridge, so maybe that tonight. Um, you can super chat me where you live and where you're from and what you think about the Bill Perkins, Blizerian, Jungleman. Just reviewing some of the analytics from the past couple days. So we're out of lettuce. We have 1 onion and 3 heads of garlic. So that is what's for breakfast. Some cane sugar, 1 onion, cinnamon, nutmeg, and about 40 cloves of garlic. Who needs French toast when you can have garlic and onion? Toasty, burnt onion toast. All right. Welcome to the show. Here we go. I'm going to share the video over here. Sharing my video. My video has been shared, and I'm going to share it one more time. Today on the show, I will be doing some Call of Duty. I haven't been playing Call of Duty much. I'm not sure why. There's no reason. So I haven't been itching to play it. And it actually requires the most thinking. And I kind of feel, well, and here's the other thing. Last couple games, I wasn't playing with volume. And I realized it's too much of it takes away too much of the game. And then the other thing is I need at least one person in my squad that, can see straight. And that's not happening either. Nobody is. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, the police. I'm gonna say this. I believe the police are going about their authoritative figure, the wrong way, and so like looking back on my life, it was to use fear tactics and well, worse, like abuse to the people of the areas I've been in, and and it's really that's scary. It's scary to think that how they were paid to treat us. So I think it is time for a serious change, and for police to understand you can't even touch you can't even touch us. The only way you could touch us is if we have blood on our hands, or you know it's got to change though. You can't pull someone out of their car, you can't nothing someone. um, Police should be there to observe and protect. So if you're driving home and you have nailed 3 cars on your drive home, and they have it on their cruiser cam, right? They can see you're just drunk as fuck going home. Then you need to arrest them, because it's to observe and protect. They observe you driving erratically, drunk, probably wasted, so they pull you over, and they protect the public by taking you out of the motorized vehicle. That's a bit more, obvious, but it's also a bit more kind of sketchy, because, it's like, well, were you drunk or not? Did you actually drive over anything? Make sure they have footage, right? You gotta ensure they have footage, and then proceed with the. You get a call from the chief or whatever, and the chief looks at it for a second. It's 30 seconds. Like if the chief has 400 officers, all 400 officers aren't going to be having body cam footage all at the exact same time, right? They're all not going to be going to arrest people at the same minute. Maybe 40 calls, maybe 20 or 30. Can't have 400 calls going out at the same time. That's bullshit. So it wouldn't be that hard for people who maybe you don't even have to be a police officer. Maybe you could actually be the observer who sees that, lives are endangered because of the actions of this car from this cruiser cam, so they can help that way, right? So to lighten up the load of the police that are there, trained and have, been trained to use, they're trained. The observer could simply be trained to see the level of danger that the supposed criminal is posing on the public. So I just hope that things can get better before they get a lot worse, and I hope things that can get better are police's treatment, make it more ethical, and make it more less physical altercations, and more like, we'll fine you, start dropping fines on these people to the point where they can't afford alcohol to mess up their lives, right? I don't know a better way to do it, besides also detoxing a person who is a heavy alcoholic. Absolutely. Like, we worry more about finding weapons of mass destruction than we do rewinding or pulling out the alcoholism of an adult man. Like, you can't just drink, you can't like be in hot weather, sweat it out, and then drink smoothies for 14 days and hypnotize the person to never want to touch alcohol again. Like, have we not made it that far with these areas of expertise? Like, what? And if we have, why aren't we dropping these on the public to create a better atmosphere here? why does the government sell poison in the form of alcohol? So I have bunches of questions that need to be answered, Worry so hard about medical marijuana. I gotta fill out paperwork on paperwork, but people can just go buy liquor right now. They should have to fill out forms, let's say like, have you been in a drunken drive accident in the last year or two? Have you had the police involved because of your drunk behavior in the last year or two? If so, you can't have alcohol. So, and then on top of that, it should be, do you feed your family? Does your family have food in the fridge at home? Then you shouldn't be in the bar every day playing VLTs and gambling and drinking alcohol and picking up hookers, whatever you do in a scuzzy bar. So there's all these things that are ruining our society, and it comes from alcohol, and also it came from bad police brutality, right? We can actually call it police brutality. There is enough of it out there that there is a thing called police brutality. There's enough of it happen now on camera that we can clearly say it happens in Canada, it happens in Mexico, it happens in Japan, it happens in China, it happens in Africa, it happens in India, that there's police brutality. When the police take off their uniform, are they not just a civilian? Or when they're done with police, are they not just a civilian again? So what I'm getting at is, why wouldn't the police want to change this? Because before you're a cop, you're a civilian. When your police career's over, you're a civilian. And when you're done the end of the day and you wear plain clothes, you're a civilian. So which means something bad could happen to you at the grocery store by police. So even you, the police, need to get some help, like with how you need to fix, you need to revamp, right? Reorg entirely. So I look for ways from everyone in the chat to revamp. My mom kind of says we need police. There's always going to be bad people, but as much as there are bad people, aren't there good people? See, the problem lies with people that lie and say this is what happened, and none of that happened. They're actually drunk as fuck or whatever, and lied and manipulated the system. Like, it happens all the time. So I do see a need for something, but it's never going to be perfect. And unfortunately, they damn well know that. The government has, they've been doing this for decades, hundreds of years, policing the people. Hopefully in the future we can figure out ways to reduce the... I think the number one way would be take all the weapons off police. Give them a body armor, and give them an armored car. Like, a good car that has bulletproof glass or something extra. And then there should be, maybe inside the car, there should be a gun in a case. That I saw this on a movie like a month ago or 3 months ago, but they should have the gun should be in the case and only opened if the head officer, chief or someone, or an observer who's checks for level of violence that's going on, to see if a gun is needed. Not to go out and shoot people right away, but to at least to use as a deterrent, right? I think that is the future. I really do. I think police should be all disarmed, and then if any civilians have guns out in public, I'm talking about Canada. You can't fix the States. States is broken. and the states is they broke the states on purpose. I don't really know why. It's like they're trying to create one of the biggest coups ever with 350 million people to see what happens. Like, I can't figure it out. But they sell guns at Walmart. Like, what did the government think was gonna happen when they gave every uneducated redneck a gun? What did you think was gonna happen? Like, I'm just waiting for the day when they start to use them. You know, it's not gonna be pretty. So if you could take all the guns away from the police, and if you were and then if a bad guy is robbing a 7-Eleven with a gun, then the police go in with shotguns or whatever. I don't care, Uzis, tanks. Get the guy with the gun and put him in jail for life. Cuz you know, number one, you shouldn't be stealing, but number two, you used the gun. And what if the gun went off and you killed the mother of 4 children who was working the night shift because her husband died of cancer the month before? So you have to use some thinking here. If a person carrying a gun is willing to even carry the gun knowing that a gun takes lives, then their life should be as worthless as what they were about to possibly follow through with. So they need to be put in a cage for life. Throw away the key, rot in there. Do you know how quickly the use of guns, that deterrent, fucking put this guy or girl on in a webcam, a live cell, rotting in a cage webcam. The last person that used a gun, here's where they're rotting. You want to be like Mike? You want to be like Josie? You know, done. So taking the guns away from police and then upping the violence if you use a gun or a knife, or if you go in with a sword, you know, 40 years in jail. So an edged weapon or a gun or a baseball bat, you know, decades in prison. This is gonna be. People could go into that store and be like, "Fuck, you know, I don't want to rob you, but I got kids at home and I'm broke. Is there any way I could get a loaf of bread?" I think the world would work differently. You know, I really do. I think if stores not allowed begging, but allowed people who weren't, you know, hooked on hard chemical drugs, should be allowed, you know, a loaf of bread a week from the grocery store, right? Not the grocery stores at the grocery store's cost, at the government's cost. How much does it cost to give the police in Canada guns and bullets every single day? For shotguns, for handguns, for cleaning supplies. And then you got to pay somebody to take all these apart, clean them, fix them, do that. Take all that away and give everybody in Canada who needs it some food when they need it. Make some big changes really quick. I don't think anybody understands how much guns cost. Guns and ammunition and then the care for them in 10 years is probably $1 trillion in Canada. Every police officer would not have a gun in Canada. Think about that. How many cops are there? And how much does a gun cost? And then bullets. Continuous, like, they're shooting every half hour, you know. Well, let's just say we can make some changes, and it's not that hard. It's just about actually following through with actual good deeds, you know. Instead of buying spy drones from China, you know, RCMP and Canadian Police Force, maybe you should be looking at, you know, ways to protect instead of like spy on Canadian citizens, which is treason. Not a fan of how a lot of these entities operate. they operate under a bully mentality in some of the smaller towns and smaller cities in Canada. There's a very it's a weird attitude. I know a lot of cops, so I know good cops, and then I went to school with people who are cops, and they're fucking sketchy as you wouldn't believe. Um, Low IQ and anger management issues in Canada. Here in Manitoba, there's cops with serious anger management issues. Pill. You're talking about cops. You're talking about drug addicts on the street. Cops are also addicted to pills. So these all play on the mindset of an officer when they go out to do their job. Just remember, you know, do you want some pissed off, psycho, pill popping alcoholic carrying a gun? Or do you want some psycho alcoholic pill popping police officer who's unarmed? It's the obvious fucking answer. So the less harm the peacekeepers can do to us is going to be a win-win for us, the civilians, okay? I'm not saying give the police nothing so they're, you get a club, you get a club, someone walks up to you, you're wearing body armor. Like, most people don't walk around Canada with body armor on. I don't have body armor. Uh, that's pretty. I feel safe wearing a fucking jean jacket, bud. And I do more. I am not scared. If you're a scared person, you shouldn't try out for the police. Okay, that's the number one rule. If you're a pussy and you gotta reach for your gun like instantly, you're not my kind. Like, I'm a Viking. These right here is all I need. And this, my brain and my heart. Because the first thing I'm gonna do is analyze the situation, assess it, and then decide if these are even warranted. If I even need these, I'll just keep these on my side. Just be like this, like, can you chill the fuck out? Can you move on? Can you pick up your garbage? Can you, do you want to lay on the ground? I'm gonna phone the police. You just vandalized all this area. I don't want to have to chase you down or jump on you or trip you up and put you on the ground myself. Just stay there on the ground, make a call, and we can have this go civilly, so you don't get hurt. But a lot of work to do, because police in Canada, they're not as tough as, an army person. I see police officers, and they're so wet. They're so wet behind the ears. I don't even think most police officers have ever been in a fight in Canada. The ones I come across, I don't think they can even fight a teenager. So it's kind of sketchy, right? You should have to take kickboxing, boxing, Greco-Roman wrestling. You should have to take a long line, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo. You should have to take a bunch of stuff. And you don't have to like ace it and become black belt and everything, but you should have to understand the building blocks of each of those before becoming a police officer. And then this would ensure you don't have to reach for your gun. You'd feel safe in your own boots. So lots of work to do with Canadian police force. It's far better than the majority of people's police in the world, but we have a lot of work to do as Canadians to ensure that nothing like what happened to George Floyd ever happens here. So I'm talking laws implemented immediately to protect us. And if if a civilian is killed under a police officer's watch, we'll go back to the beginning of assessing and all that. Maybe they screwed up on their assessing. They shot them because they thought he had a gun. That's an instant. You killed someone because you thought they had a gun. Well, I'm sorry, but you have to go to jail. You weren't even fired on. You didn't. So first of all, you didn't hear a gunshot, but you fired 16 shots at them. It's just weird. like I can't explain to you the situation. When you're walking up, if your eyes are that shit, and you're 4 or 10 feet away, and you think a cell phone is a handgun, you shouldn't be a fucking police officer. Okay, police officers again to observe and protect. If your observation skills are a fucking zero, you shouldn't be a cop. Cops should have 10 out of 10 every time. And if you can't handle observing, don't even get a fucking badge. Because this is what it's about. It's about observing to understand the situation and assess it. If your observation skills are below zero and your way of going about it is to flare up your flak jacket and cock your gun, these are not what we're looking for to have protecting and serving us in Canada. Have a great morning. I'll be back right away. There's some cheating scandals online, and I never liked Dan Blizerian anyway. He's such a goof, all that guy does is promote silver spoon fed bitches. So just saying it, said it, done.